So continuing on from my previous video where I talked about readability, what I'm going to do now is just talk to you about the very basic use of the radio. I'm going to have a quick listen to the normal everyday calls that you will be making as a student in the circuit around Popham, and then we'll move on to radio calls that you would need to make if you were leaving. So let's have a quick listen to your normal calls, everyday calls for Popham Radio.
Popham Radio Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo, airfield information for a flight to the Isle of Wight.
I've called the controller, I've identified who I am and what it is I want from the controller.
Golf Yankee Romeo, Popham Radio, readability 5, 26 right hand, QNH 1024.
So the controller's replied with my readability, in this case 5, the pressure, and which is the active runway currently.
26 right hand, QNH 1024, Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo. Popham Radio Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo is lining up 26 for immediate.
Golf Yankee Romeo, Roger, southwind westerly at 12 knots.
And we just heard the standard call that you would make for lining up on the runway for taking off. It's important to remember that the controller can't give you permission to take off or land. It is an air-to-ground radio service only. Let's talk about if we wanted to leave the circuit at Popham and fly into controlled airspace. The nearest controlled airspace to us is Solent, it's Class D. What we're going to do now is we're going to listen to the radio call informing Popham Radio that we're leaving their frequency and that we're switching to Solent's frequency.
Golf Yankee Romeo is departing via the overhead. We'll switch now to Solent on 120.225. Bye-bye.
Golf Yankee Romeo, Roger.
So you've heard there that I've called up, I've said that I'm leaving the circuit via the overhead, and then I'm going to be switching to Solent radar on 120.225. And Popham Radio's confirmed that he's heard my message by saying Roger. So let's have a listen to Solent radar. So the first thing we need to do is call Solent radar and identify ourselves. We identify the station that we're calling and we identify ourselves. This is so that the controller knows if he hears me say Solent radar, he knows I'm talking to him. If I called up and I said Popham Radio, he would say, Golf Yankee Romeo, you're on the frequency for Solent radar. Please switch to 129.805 for Popham Radio. So the initial call with the identification of who you're calling is very important. Let's have a listen to the call.
Solent Radio Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo.
Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo, Solent, QNH 1022, pass your message.
So we've heard the controller call back. He's identified me as Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo. He's confirmed that it is Solent radar that I'm speaking to, and he's given me the local pressure for the Solent area, 1022. So now let's talk about what information he needs from us. I'm going to simplify this into what I call the 3 W's. So the 3 W's consist of 1, who am I? 2, where am I? And 3, what do I want? This is all the controller needs to know. This is all the information that he wants. We can get this over very, very quickly. So let's go through each one of those calls. Let's start with, who am I?
Golf Yankee Romeo is an Icarus C42.
Golf Yankee Romeo is an Icarus C42. That's who I am. Where am I?
Out of Popham.
Out of Popham. So the controller now knows I have just departed Popham Airfield. What do I want?
Requesting a basic service.
And I've told him that I'm requesting a basic service. In a later video, we will talk about the different service levels that are provided by air traffic control. This isn't the time for that. We're just going to cover those very basic 3W calls. So let's have a listen to his reply.
Golf Yankee Romeo, thank you. Verify your altitude.
The altitude is now 2,200 on QNH 1022.
So he's asked me to confirm my altitude.
Roger, and what's your intended routing down to the Isle of Wight in relation to Southampton's airspace?
And he wants to know which way I'm going.
Yes, I'd like to go New Alresford and then direct to West Cowes and then eastwardly around the Isle of Wight, Ventnor, Needles, back via Calshot and then direct Popham.
So the routing that I've given him, he's obviously looking on his radar screen. He knows his patch very well, and he will be aware that the routing that I've selected will take me through his controlled airspace.
Roger, the Golf Charlie Charlie Yankee Romeo, you're cleared across, not above 2,500 feet VFR. Advise if at any time you're unable to maintain VMC.
So he's now given me clearance to cross his zone, not above 2,500 feet. It's a VFR flight, and I must tell him if I'm unable to maintain VMC conditions. If I'm unable to maintain that, I must call him and let him know, and that's what he's asking me to confirm.
Clear cross and enter the zone, not above 2,500 VFR, will advise if not able to hold altitude, Golf Yankee Romeo.
So there you go, a very simple explanation and demonstration of the radio calls required if you're outside of Popham Airfield and you're going into controlled airspace. Remember, it's just 3 W's, it's that simple. Who am I, where am I, and what do I want? And that's all the information the controller needs. You heard that he wanted to know my routing, and he gave me some additional instructions. But the 3 basic pieces of information were the 3 W's. Hope you found that interesting. We'll hope to elaborate on radio calls in later videos. But for now, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.